When I'm 25, I want to buy a Fender.
I am making sauerkraut for the first time in my life. It's pretty easy, to be honest. I don't know why I haven't tried making this before. But I'm actually a little bit worried because somehow like my cabbage hasn't released a lot of juice, even though I spent so much time massaging it that my hands have turned purple. And I'm not sure if it's because of the type of salt that I'm using. Here the salt is so much drier, you know what I mean? It kind of looks like dried salt. And so because of that it takes a long time to dissolve, and maybe that's the reason why it's taking so long for the cabbage to release the juices. I don't know, I thought that I would have more juice, I guess.
And I'll show you every album I listen to, and tell me all your deepest, darkest secrets don't make.
Oh no. I am so disappointed that my fermentation weights don't fit these jars. Like, why? It's so close. It's only by a millimeter or something. Maybe even less than a millimeter. It's crazy. Why? What should I do? Couldn't really find a solution to the weight issue, so I just decided to switch to a different jar, a bigger jar. It just looks a little bit ridiculous, doesn't it? This toast has become my new food obsession. I've been eating this for the past 3 days, either for a late breakfast or a lunch, and yeah, usually when it's like 3 days in a row, I already know that it's gonna turn into a food obsession very quickly, and I'm gonna make this toast my whole personality. It's a pretty good toast that I just improvised the other day. I don't know, I'm just like super into this flavor combination right now. So we have homemade hummus and roasted red cabbage. Then I squeeze a little bit of lime juice, fresh cilantro, and usually on top I will either, well, yesterday I did this with shimeji mushrooms and it was really good, and today I wanted to make it with a fried egg, and then I just put a little bit of sriracha on top. It's just so good. had quite a rough start this morning. I woke up super anxious. I didn't sleep very well. I've been feeling pretty anxious and I've been not really ignoring it, but I should have paid more attention to it because I was already feeling all the signs that I was gonna sooner or later have kind of like a meltdown. It feels like a little bit dramatic when I say meltdown, but now I'm actually feeling a little bit better. It's a few hours later and I am making myself some soup. I'm just gonna take it easy today because honestly I feel exhausted. It was a very difficult morning, let's say that. The reason I've been so anxious lately is actually my fault. Well, let me give you some context. So about like a month and a half ago, I started helping out on this project that we are all doing for fun. There's just so many aspects of the work that I'm doing that have been very triggering for me, and I realized that a lot of the wounds that I thought were healed are actually still very open. And it's not like it's anybody's fault, you know. It's just that some things are just like the nature of the job, and I don't feel like I'm ready to work with other people in this setting just yet. I hope that I'm able to in the future, but I just feel anxious, you know. We're going to Berlin for 2 weeks to hopefully find an apartment so that we can move there. I think I mentioned in my last video that we have been thinking about doing this for a while and we just have been like postponing for such a long time. So it's kind of like now or never. We're gonna go there for 2 weeks and we already have some viewings booked for the first few days. We are actively trying to get more viewings. Apartment hunting is such a frustrating process to go through, especially here in Germany, and I actually have a video about that from the last time that we moved. It's definitely no different this time. We have been since January trying to get like just a viewing appointment, you know. Every day we're checking the new listings and we are like sending emails and making phone calls. And honestly, up until a week ago, we didn't get like any replies, which is crazy and it makes me really, really angry. There's a lot of like documents and bureaucracy that you have to have on hand so that you can easily like send everything. The sun moved a lot. Anyway, it also doesn't help that we are both self-employed. That's also like an issue with the whole pandemic happening. I thought that wasn't an issue anymore, but turns out it still is. Also, rents have gone up quite a lot. So for now we have 3 viewings booked for the first days we're there. Hopefully we'll have more in the near future. But I don't know, everything is just like so random and you kind of have to be lucky, honestly. But anyway, we're going and maybe we'll find an apartment, maybe not, I don't know. The whole process is just like so random. A couple of friends moved there recently, so we're also meeting with them. So even if we don't find an apartment, we're still gonna have fun. As you can probably tell, I am feeling much better today than I was yesterday. Yesterday was a really rough day for me emotionally. I had a really rough start in the morning. I didn't sleep very well and I woke up very anxious. I've been having trouble sleeping for a long time. I feel like I'm always saying that. I feel like I I'm just like constantly having trouble sleeping. And every now and then I have a couple of nights where I sleep okay, and then I think it's gone. So it's just like this constant thing in my life. And with that comes a lot of anxiety. I honestly cannot remember the last time that I slept really, really well and feel actually rested when I wake up. That just hasn't happened in a very long time for me. And of course it kind of like becomes this snowball effect, because I know that the reason why I can't sleep well at night is because of my anxiety disorder. But if I don't sleep well, I also get super anxious. And so when I have this big cycle where I don't sleep and I feel anxious all the time, I kind of have like a day or a few days where I kind of have to release all of that energy, and that's when the meltdown, how I usually call it, happens. And I guess like yesterday was one of those days. I've been dealing with anxiety ever since I can remember, and I've done therapy to try to like not only understand what this thing that I have is, but also to try to manage it so that it doesn't take over my whole life. But some days it's very hard, you know, to do that. I could actually see the meltdown coming from a million miles away. I just been having this feeling for the past couple of weeks that I'm about to burst. And I did try to manage it by doing the things that I usually do, so like breathing exercises or moving my body and stuff like that, which helps me a lot personally, but this time it didn't really help. And that's because the main thing that I should have changed to avoid what happened, I just didn't, you know, I just didn't stop doing it. And so I could see that this was gonna happen, which was a very weird, interesting experience. I have been invited to collaborate in this project, and even though my gut was telling me not to do it, I decided to accept anyway. I know that I can always trust my gut. I just sometimes choose not to listen to it. And maybe this time I didn't listen to it because I wanted to feel useful. I don't know, somehow even though I know I should not do it, I always find myself attaching like my self-worth to my level of productivity, which is so strange because I'm so against that idea, but somehow I cannot detach myself from it. You know what I mean? It's very frustrating. The first week was actually going pretty okay, but by the second week I started to feel triggered. The type of work that I'm doing in this project is very similar to the type of work that I was doing before I decided to quit my job. And I've told myself so many times that I wanted to change careers, and I still want to do that, but because I don't really know what I want to do next, I kind of have to, like, at least for now, stick to the things that I know how to do and I know that I'm good at. The lighting is changing so much. But anyway, I can see myself just falling into the same old patterns that I promised myself that I would not fall in again. And yesterday, while I was going through all that, I realized that a lot of the wounds I thought were healed are actually not. That destroyed me even more. And it's pretty fucking sad that I have allowed myself to fall into the same patterns again. I really thought I was ready to go back to this type of work, but I think yesterday was the proof that I'm not. And so now I kind of have to make this decision, and I only have two options. One, I continue to do this and try to deal with it and find a healthier way to cope, which I don't know if I'm capable of at this time. I don't know if I have the right tools, or I kind of have to step aside, which makes me sad because I already said yes and I don't really like to leave people hanging. I'm so afraid of failing others. Healing is hard, man. It fucking sucks. It really fucking sucks. I just took a much needed shower. These past 24 hours just have been so crazy. You know, sometimes there are days where I really hate all of my clothes and everything seems to not fit me properly. So we arrived yesterday quite early, I would say. We arrived around 2 p.m. and we had an apartment viewing at 3, so we really had to rush from the train station to the Airbnb to drop our bags and quickly leave for the viewing. After the viewing, we kind of just went for a walk and had some very early dinner. We were feeling a little bit tired because we woke up so early to catch the train, and I didn't sleep very well. I was just having like massive cramps that woke me up at 5 a.m. And that kind of persisted throughout the whole morning, so it wasn't like a very comfortable train ride at all. But anyway, we made it. Eventually, after eating something, we went back to our Airbnb. We didn't book it through there, but the person that has the apartment sometimes rents it out through Airbnb. When we arrived, we kind of took a look around the whole apartment, and the apartment was like very, very dirty. Everything was dusty. There were like crumbs everywhere on the floor and on the kitchen and on top of the tables. The bathroom had hairs like all over. Every single area in that apartment was super, super dirty. Even the mattress had dust, and I don't know, like the whole thing was just like pretty disgusting. And of course, after seeing all of this, we decided to search for a new place. Thankfully, we were able to find this place online right away, but because it was already getting super late, we couldn't just like pack our things and come here on the same day, so we had to spend the night there. Check-in was only allowed from 3 p.m. and so we spent the whole morning just walking around the city, and we had lunch at this very delicious ramen place, and now we're finally here. It's quite tiny, but at least it's clean, you know. We've been here for an hour or something, and I took like the nicest shower, and I was just finishing getting ready because we're having dinner with a friend.